All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's live Path to Prosperity webinar. We are live and recording, so welcome aboard. Let me check here. First, let me go to the chat box and make sure everybody can see each other's chats. Hang on just one second. I'll get that going. Panelists and attendees. Okay, so that's good. Let's check the attendee box. Oh, good. Got a bunch on here so far. So welcome aboard, everybody. Good. We got some new folks. All right. Todor's on. Hey, Todor. You're so far. You're the veteran. Good to see you, buddy. Newman, good to see you too. Matt, good to see you. Cindy, welcome everybody. Veteran and new alike. By the way, if you are a new or newer student, you'll recognize obviously by default you're on mute mode. I will and do unmute you sometimes from time to time, depending on what we're discussing. If it just makes more sense to bring you on, unmute your microphone, we'll do that sometimes. But for the most part, just use the chat box to type in your questions and comments. Tonight's subject is going to be dealing with joint ventures in business partnerships, okay? Before we get into all that though, we got a couple of email questions to go over. One from Todor regarding buying houses that have been in fires before. Another student, we're talking about cap rates and cash on cash return, and I didn't write down the email. The student who sent me the email, I apologize. I just swapped messages with her yesterday. But in any case, we're going to go over those first. Before we get into all that, just a little bit of housekeeping. Please make sure you always look at the recording the next day in the email coming from Beverly, because it'll have in there, updates to the systems, the platforms, scheduling changes, things you need to be aware of. Some of the platforms are changing, so you're going to notice here in another couple of weeks, the investor agent training program is being broken into 10 different modules, going from 5 modules to 10 modules. I haven't been told, so I don't know if you're going to be grandfathered in. We're going to have access to the old version and the new version. There's a lot more videos involved. There's if you go to the YouTube channel, My Investment Services, there's like close to 100 videos out there, and more are coming every single week. Some of them are a little, like an average of 3 minutes of focus on one specific subject, and we use those to supplement the learning. So look for that coming up here in the very near future, probably in March. In any case, that's how that works. So make sure you get the webinar every week from Beverly and look at it. Look for the scheduling changes, updates, things like that. By the way, you notice some new branding out there. That just started last week, Real Estate with Gary Wilson, which was kind of humbling for me. But that's what they're doing, and it all has to do with SEO. Of course, the term real estate is a very highly searched phrase. The word with, believe it or not, WITH, is very highly searched, and they connect that with my name, and it should have some greater effect. So, in any case, guys, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and jump into first Todor's email. So Todor has a client. They were looking at buying a property that is known to have been in a fire, okay? And it's always good if the selling agent discloses that. Of course, if they know about it, they disclose it. And again, that's one thing you remember in real estate. Doesn't matter what state or province you're in. If you're aware of a physical defect on a property, you have to disclose that. You can keep your client's personal information private, of course, okay, and you should. Anything physically related to the property, if you're aware of it, you have to disclose it, okay? In this case, the selling agent probably did the right thing by letting everybody know that the property had previously been in a fire. But let's say you weren't sure. What would you do if you suspect the property has been in a fire before? Well, good news. The housing insurance industry, okay, property insurance, there is a database that's shared by all the insurance providers. And every time there's a claim on a property, it's submitted to that database. So anybody that goes to get insurance on a property, their agent, it doesn't matter where they are, can plug that property address in and get the report on that property. And you can ask for that, and you should ask for that, okay? So I learned this going back about 20 years ago. Well, maybe it wasn't that long ago, maybe 15 years ago. One of our neighbors, he was an insurance adjuster, and I happened to ask, I called him up one time. I said, his name was Phil. I said, Phil, I'm looking at a property. I tell it's been in a fire before, in the kitchen. I just can, it's obvious, it's to me, I've smelled it and so forth and so on. I said, can I still insure this property? And he said, well, Gary, I can find that out for you tonight. I'll go home and I'll run the report. And I said, what do you mean run the report? He said, we can find out every property that's ever had a claim filed on it and see what the damage was, see what the property report was on the property. So sure enough, called me later, like, turns out the kitchen had been burned down to the studs, and they had basically kind of put new drywall up and everything, and new outside siding, new insulation, new windows, of course, new cabinets, new flooring, new everything. But the inside, the actual studs, the framing was still there, okay, from the pre-fire days. And he said, the reality is before this property will be insured, an inspector is going to have to go out there. They're going to have to visually inspect the framing, which means they're going to take off some of the siding and look at that. So it turns out the property was insurable. I didn't end up buying it, but I'm glad to know that the industry was there by my side and backing me up in anything that I purchased. So just keep that in mind, guys. Any property that you look at, you should always run a insurance property report on the property, particularly when it comes to fire, because their properties, some of them, they will not insure. You don't want to find it out later on, okay? So Todor, hopefully that answers your question. I know it's like, kind of gave it to you the other day, but I wanted to bring this up in the weekly webinar because a lot of people are going to come across this, and I thought it's one of those topics that's anybody can learn from, okay? So I appreciate you sharing that, Todor. Now, next one is this, cap rates and cash on cash return. What is it? What are they, and what's the difference, okay? And after this, I'll go into tonight's main subject, which is joint ventures and business partners, okay? Now, cash on cash return, all right, is different than cap rate. And most people have heard of cap rate. Here's all cap rate is, okay? You can look it up in your material. In most cases, it's in module 2. That's where we talk about cap rate and give you an example, and also cash on cash return. So cap rate is simply this. Let's just say you've got your gross rents coming in. Then you got expenses like taxes, insurance, water, maintenance, repairs, so forth and so on. You subtract all the expenses from your gross rent, and that gives you what's called net operating income. Okay, if you notice, I did not mention debt service. I did not mention principal and interest payments on a mortgage. That has nothing to do with cap rate, and it'll have something to do with cash on cash return, which I'll describe in a minute. But in any case, you take your gross rents minus your expenses, and you have to include in there, by the way, vacancies, okay? That resulting figure is your net operating income, okay, before you pay mortgages and taxes and all that. Well, you take that resulting figure, divide it by the total cost, the purchase price of the property, and that gives you what's called cap rate. In other words, if you have a $100,000 property, you bought it, the price was $100,000, and your gross receipts are $20,000 in rents coming in a year, and your expenses, non-debt expenses, are $10,000. You subtract the $10,000 from the $20,000, and you're left with $10,000. Well, that resulting $10,000 is divided by the $100,000 that you paid for the property, and hence you get 10% cap rate. Basically, your net operating income is 10% of your total purchase price of the property. That's called your cap rate. Now, to determine your cash on cash return, here's what you do. You've already taken your gross rents and subtracted your expenses. The next step is you now do subtract your mortgage payments, your what's called principal and interest payments, okay? Your debt, so we call this debt service. So let's say your debt service for the year is $5,000. Well, now you're down to $5,000 cash on cash return. This is your cash in your pocket. In other words, you've got $20,000 in rents coming in, $10,000 in non-debt expenses, $5,000 in debt, principal and interest payments, okay? That results in figure $5,000. You don't divide that by the total purchase price. You only divide that by what you put down on the property. So 5,000 divided by 25,000 is 25%. In other words, your cash on cash return is 25%. That's a pretty good cash on cash return. Okay, I generally look for 20%, but you know, I love to get 25. I've had properties cash on cash return at 50%, 70%. Okay, So remember, the big difference is cash on cash return does account for debt service. And it also, when you take your net, you divide it by what you put into the property cash-wise, not what you pay for the property, not the purchase price, only the money you put into it. Down payment, maybe a new roof, for example, which is a capital expenditure. That's really all it is, guys. That's all it is. Now, just a brief little dissertation on this. Cap rate generally represents what's going on in the area, and its areas have a certain cap rate, okay? What really real investors look at more precisely is the cash on cash return, which is generally more property specific. Another thing too is you can more easily manipulate cash on cash return. You can put more money down. You can put less money down. You can pay a higher interest rate. You can pay a lower interest rate. You can have a longer term on the loan, a shorter term on the loan. What I'm getting is you can manipulate cash on cash return more easily than you can cap rate. Okay? So a lot of really good investors, they'll look at cap rate to see what's happening in the area. But when it comes to the individual property, they're going to look at cash on cash return. And then what we do is we do what's called a what if scenario. Let's say we don't like the return the way it's presented to us. We'll manipulate the deal. We'll massage it by, again, playing with the down payment, the interest rates, the terms, things like that, that will directly affect the cash on cash return. So in any case, I hope you guys like that explanation. Hopefully it makes sense to you. It is in your material, so you can always go to your learning material, look it up there and study cap rate and cash on cash return, okay? Now, moving on, tonight's subject is doing joint ventures and business partnerships. So let me go to the checklist for this, just like we've been doing the last, ever since the holidays. We're creating checklists for every one of these marketing campaigns that we're teaching to you. So let me do a share on this. We're going to share checklist for using joint ventures and business partners. So if you wouldn't mind, if one of you would just type in your chat box, let me know that you can see on your screen this checklist. In the bold blue ink up top, it says using joint ventures and business partner checklist. So if one of you, two of you wouldn't mind, give me a quick shout out on the chat box, let me know that you can actually see this. Like this is what you're seeing on your screen, that I'll know we're all on the right page here. And let's see, Cindy says, okay, good. Thank you, Cindy. All right, first things first, just as with any marketing plan, when it comes to joint ventures and business partners, you always want to determine your goals for the project, okay? You're going to do a joint venture with a local service provider. You're going to determine what are your goals. So you're looking to get more clients, or you're looking to immediately get more transactions. You're looking to do both. You should want to do both, by the way. But you should determine how many, not just I want new clients, but how many new clients. Let's say you anticipate your joint venture is going to attract 100 people. Well, maybe you want to get 10 new clients out of that, okay? And maybe you want to get lucky that first night if somebody says, I'm ready to go now, and you actually get a transaction out of it. Maybe you get a listing out of it, something like that. Well, just determine, write down what your goals are. Actually, write this down. You want to write down everything, okay? It sounds like crazy. I'm going to write down that I'm going to write things down. So write down what your goals are, okay? Now, once you determine that, because remember, some marketing campaigns are better at just building your database with qualified people. Some are better at directly getting transactions in your pocket, like right away. Okay, now, the next thing is I'm going to give you lists of people that you may want to consider working with, okay? List of joint venture partners, list of business partners. But before we do that, you should always do a profile. We call this define your avatar of who it is you want to work with, okay? There's two parts of this. One part is what types of clients do you want? Describe them, define them. What's their education? What industries are they in? What kind of cars do they drive? Where do they live? Do they wear suits? Are they blue collar? Do they wear lab coats? Define who your avatar is, okay? That's part one. Part two is define what other business entities, what other businesses or service providers will likely have those same types of clients, okay? So if you think about it, you may think, well, gee, I want to work with a lot of engineers, and I know that there's local HVAC companies that are owned and run by engineers, or they hire engineers to work on their equipment and do big HVAC jobs at churches and schools and business buildings, office buildings and things like that. So two people you're going to define. One group is the end user, the people you're looking to serve directly in transactions. And the first group is the other business providers who have those types of clients, okay? Do both of those. Now, let's just talk about some of these potential joint ventures, okay? Some of the most obvious ones are up top. You absolutely should do joint venture with a lender, a local lender. Now, don't just pick any local lender, okay? In other words, you want to be specific. We know, for example, over all the years, that working with small local community banks who are portfolio lenders always make better sources of lending for us and our clients, okay? I'm not against the big banks. I'm not against Bank of America and those guys, but they're really big and they have silos that they fit people in. And whereas the small local banks generally look at you and your project, they don't worry about a silo. They just want to know that they like you and your project, okay? That's part of it. The other part of it is this. Big banks almost all sell their mortgages, okay? You get a mortgage with Bank of America. I get a mortgage with Bank of America. Bank of America will package up those mortgages, sell them to investors on Wall Street, like JP Morgan and all those guys. And then they turn around and offer them to you and I as investors that we can invest in as individual investors through mutual funds, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, things like that, okay? So what happens is when banks sell mortgages, they're generally, you have to follow FHA guidelines. And FHA guidelines are very strict, very restrictive. They only let you have so many loans with FHA at any one time. Well, investors don't like that. We don't want restrictions, okay? So we generally use community banks who are portfolio lenders. You want to write that down. Community banks who are portfolio lenders, and work with those guys, not just for your own borrowing, but for your clients. You want to team up your clients with those types of lenders, okay? Because a portfolio lender keeps the loan portfolio in-house. They don't sell their mortgages. They don't package them up and sell them to Wall Street. They keep and service their own mortgages, okay? So this is important because they don't have to follow all those FHA guidelines. They can be more creative with their lending practices, and they can be more flexible with their lending practices. And sometimes they'll have specific loan programs just for investors, like people buying, multi-unit buildings or people flipping homes, okay? You can get loan packages where they'll let you buy the home, then give you the money for the remodeling, and then of course you pay it all back when you sell the property, okay? All right, lenders. Another great partner would be attorneys, okay? Because attorneys are working with people, particularly investors, on setting up the LLCs from within which they buy the properties, doing settlements, doing the closings, the escrow, providing title insurance on the properties that the investors buy. How about dealing with landlord-tenant issues, okay? There's a number of things you want to partner with attorneys on, and they make great business partners for us, okay? Great joint venture partners. Another possibility would be insurance representative, okay? I've done at least 2 joint venture events with insurance, people selling, homeowners insurance to us and our clients, okay? They're great. They're very creative, by the way. Usually insurance people in the insurance industry are entrepreneurial, they're creative, they're imaginative, and they have some great ideas, okay? Financial planner. Yep, you heard it here. Years ago, financial planners would not get involved in real estate, but in the last probably 15 years, 10 to 15 years, they absolutely have been getting more involved in real estate, even to the point where they're promoting investing in real estate to their clients. I've been a benefactor of that, okay? In fact, I've had financial planners as my own personal clients who bought real estate, okay? Let's see, financial planners, general contractors. This is a really good one, okay? Because everybody who's flipping a home or buying a rental property at some point is going to need a GC, a general contractor. So you can do a joint venture with them. You can also do joint ventures with the individual contractors, like the painters, for example, the electricians, plumbers, okay, carpenters, okay, framers, roofers, people installing windows and siding and doors and all that. Flooring contractors again, roofers again. How about kitchen and bathroom contractors? Okay, that's a big deal. Do a joint venture with them. Or a kitchen and bathroom showroom, people selling the bathtubs and the sinks and the vanities and the toilets to you and the contractors, right? How about a landscaper, okay? Or a home cleaning or house cleaning business, okay? Doing a joint venture with them. Or how about this? Furniture showroom, okay? Furniture salespeople. We've done joint ventures with them. Interior decorator, right? Believe me, people who are flipping homes need staging, okay? At a minimum, not to mention potentially people who can do the interior design. So interior decorators, interior designers, staging businesses. Here's a couple of unique ones. How about car dealership, okay? Have you ever thought about doing a joint venture with a car dealership? Or how about a boat dealership if you're living on the coast? I mean, like I'm in Florida now since January 6th, and I'll be there for another month, another 4 weeks. And I can tell you there's a lot of boat dealerships in Florida. Any coastal area has boat dealerships. Well, here's what I'm getting at. Would you agree boat dealerships have a pretty good clientele? People who are buying boats have expendable, disposable income, who are more likely to entertain investing it to bring in more income for themselves, okay? So what you can do is do a joint venture with a boat dealership. Maybe have them do a small private boat show for all of their select clients, and you come in and do a joint venture with them. Bring your clients in, okay, investors who might be interested in buying boats. So you both bring in your own clients. They get access to your clients, and you get access to their clients, okay? Have them go walk through the boats. They've got, cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, all kinds of great way to do a joint venture. Car dealership. In most areas I've been to in US and Canada, car dealerships are closed on Sundays. The building's sitting there empty, and yet they get all these great clients. So do a joint venture with a car dealership, do a Sunday afternoon workshop for investors. You bring in your clients, they bring in their clients, everybody wins, okay? Staging businesses, interior decorators. I'm going to go backwards here on the ideas, okay? We went the list, created a list going forward. I'm going to go back over it in reverse to give you ideas for the joint venture. Sometimes you can do joint ventures with staging partners, staging businesses, and interior designers, where you have, so let's say you have an open house and on a flip you're flipping, and you bring all your investor clients over and say, I just want to show you this flip I just did, so you can see what you can do on your next flip. And by the way, I'm going to have an interior decorator there to give you ideas on how you can decorate your place for the greatest effect. Or how about again, a staging person to say, here's how you stage a house. I staged Gary's house. He's flipping it now. And look, he's already got 10 offers or whatever. But you bring in your clients, they get access to your clients, okay? Furniture showroom, you can actually do a joint venture right there in the furniture showroom, right? Pick a middle of the week day, Monday through Thursday, like late morning, early afternoon, where it's really slow for them. Or how about this? Do a lunch and learn at the furniture showroom, okay? Do a lunch and learn at the furniture showroom, right? Bring in your clients, they bring in their clients, everybody wins. Landscaper. Next time you do an open house on a flip you're selling, or even for your client. In fact, if let's say you're not selling a flip for your own, you're selling a flip for a client, ask them if they would allow you to take advantage of the flip Sunday showing to bring in a landscaper to demonstrate how to do proper landscaping on houses today. And you bring in your clients to let the landscaper gets access to them. Your seller gets to sell the property quickly, unless it's yours and you're selling your own property quickly. All right. That would work great, by the way, with bathroom and kitchen remodelers, roofers, carpenters, flooring contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, you name it. By the way, the idea of doing a workshop in a furniture showroom would also work for a kitchen and bathroom showroom. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. So we talked about the different contractors. Had them come to your next property next time you're selling a flip. You put it back on the market. Had these guys show up, particularly the ones that worked on the property. You can say, look, this guy did all the plumbing work for this flip. How'd you like to work with him? Remember, you're going to bring in all your clients. Now you give your clients access to a contractor who can do a pretty darn good job, right? Insurance representatives. I like them because they'll generally will get the venue. They'll get a local restaurant. They'll get a local meeting room or local meeting hall. Bring in all of their clients. They'll advertise the market to bring in cold traffic. You bring in your guys too. Anybody meets there, and you get their access to their clients. They get access to your clients. Okay. You could do like with an attorney. You could do like a business dinner. Okay, where you bring everybody into a decent restaurant, sit them around a long, conference room style table, and you have your attorney get up and talk about setting up LLCs, all the legalese of a sales agreement or listing agreement, or how about the landlord-tenant cases, okay? Any case, you can have them do a lot of Q&A. You think a lot of people would like to talk to an attorney for free over dinner? Well, heck yeah, an attorney likes it too. The attorney gets all those people now as clients, okay? Banker, lender, obviously that's kind of obvious. Just like insurance guys, sometimes a lender will set up the venue, okay? And you can use the venue to do a workshop for investors. The lender likes it because they get all those prospects for borrowing clients, okay? And they'll bring in their clients and you get prospects for your own brokerage business, okay? So just want to give you some rough ideas there on how you can use joint ventures with these local service providers. Now what I want to do is I want to jump into what we call business partnerships. A little bit different, same type theme, but now we're doing business partnerships, okay? Now, business partnerships are slightly different. You're going to be working with entities who are typically already established. Some of the most obvious ones will be your local chamber of commerce. If you're going to really be a producer, you may want to seriously consider joining a local chamber of commerce or a Lions Club, or if you're in an area that has BNI, Business Network International, you can join a local BNI group who needs someone like you. And if there's not one that exists, my gosh, guys, create your own BNI. It's just go to BNI, that's an international website, and they'll show you how to start your own BNI. Okay, we've done several of them over the years. You can have a BNI that's only got 8 people in it. You can do a BNI that has 108 people in it. In any case, there's also lots of professional associations for every industry you can possibly imagine, every category in every industry. So the most obvious ones are American Dental Association, right? ADA for dentists. You got chiropractors associations, teachers associations, pilots associations, military associations like VFW, right? Veterans of Foreign Wars. But also they have a lot of other associations too, and organizations. Engineers, there's 452 types of engineers in the world. And you've got electrical engineer associations, mechanical engineer associations, civil engineer associations, all these different associations for all the different types of engineers. And I've been emphasizing this. I would tell you guys in production, one of my most loyal and productive groups was the engineers, flat out, hands down, not just because there's so many of them, but they just happen to make really good investors, okay? And they're very loyal, all right? So engineering associations, associations for firemen and policemen, okay? Fraternal Order of Police, for example. Great organizations, great associations. So let's now talk about how we can work with these folks, all right? One thing you can do is to just go back to the dentist, right? The American Dental Association. Well, they have a national organization, they have a state chapters, and they have local chapters within the state chapters. Well, guess what? They have monthly meetings just like we do. And they generally have dinners. It's a monthly meeting in a local restaurant. All the chiropractors get together, all the dentists, whatever. Well, did you know that you can actually participate in those monthly events? You can, that's right. You can call them up, you can Google them, okay? And see what it takes to go to the next dinner. If you're not a dentist, like you're not an active member of the association, you're gonna have to pay generally, $40 or something. It's worth it, believe me. Ask Cedric Farrell. I took him to the Orange County Chiropractors Association dinner. That's been a year ago. My gosh, it's been over a year ago. Back in, that was 2019, February, in fact, 2019. Okay. So I paid for the tickets, drove up to San Diego. He met me there at the dinner, and he walked away with nine prospects from one night at dinner. Okay. He's always been one of my favorite students because he's just he's an action taker. He participates, and teachers love students that actually take action, right? So, in any case, so I paid for the tickets. He got 9 deals, right? Now, what I suggest is this: when it comes to these big organizations, start at the local level. Obviously, just start where you are. Maybe you're in Totor, you're up in the Boston area, okay? Go to the local Boston chapter dinner for dentists, for example, or chiropractors. And by the way, guys, when you do this, don't come in there loaded for bear. Don't come in there with a whole bunch of brochures and pamphlets and stuff like that. That's not the thing you do on the first visit. The first thing you do is you want to come in and you want to shake hands, meet people, sit down with a group of people at dinner. When the dinner's over and there's networking, meet as many people as you can, and absolutely have a business card with you, okay? But don't just give your business card. You want to get their contact information, right? And on your business card, for people who are reluctant to give you the contact information, say, here, take my card. On the back is the offer for you to go online and get a free report on buying rentals in your area, or a free search of rentals, or how about a free evaluation on a rental you may already own. Put those kind of things on the back of your business cards, okay? But the point is you want to walk away with names and numbers and email addresses, okay? Now, let's say it goes well, you actually do want to join the association. You can join as a vendor, and then every month, there's different levels of belongingness, I guess you want to call it that, different levels of service. At the entry level, you can come to all the dinners, and maybe once a year, they let you get up and speak, okay? Do the next higher level, maybe you get to speak every quarter. Do the highest level, you maybe get to speak every single month, okay? I would say work your way up to the monthly level, right? Where you go every month, but maybe you don't get to speak every month until you do the highest level. Well, now you've established credibility, authority. They know you are the go-to guy for investing in real estate, okay? Or girl, excuse me. In any case, that's really how you do that. Same thing with teachers associations, pilots. Every one of these groups has their own association. Now, I will tell you this, firemen and policemen are a little bit different to work with, okay? Generally speaking, it might be a good idea to put on an event for them the next time they have a FOP, Fraternal Order of Police event. Sign up to be a vendor at the event, set up a booth, maybe you pay for desserts for everybody, something like that, okay? But the point is, at that level, you should be bringing in some collateral, some free reports, some free books, everything branded with your name and contact information on that, okay? Now, firemen and policemen in particular, if you're going to do a live event with them, not through their association, but directly with the precincts, sometimes you can do that. We've had success with that. But generally, you've got to be able to go in different times of day, different days of the week, because they do shift work. You can go Thursday at 1 p.m., and only maybe a third of the officers will be there, okay? They all have different shifts, so just keep that in mind. But I will tell you this, you make one fire chief happy, for example, at a local fire precinct, they'll tell all the other chiefs, and you're in. That just happened to me in Tidewater, Virginia. One of my best friends was a ladder truck driver, was a captain, did a presentation for his chief at the precinct, and next thing you know, started getting calls from others because they want to invest. Firemen make great investors, okay? All right, now, let's talk about how we actually make this happen, right? We know who they are. We know what we should do. Let's talk about how do we actually get in front of these folks and make this happen. So let's first talk about the organization. So what you want to do is Google the associations first. Check them out. Go to the LinkedIn pages, go to the Facebook pages, friend them, like them, connect with them, follow up with them, interact with them on social media. And you'll, as a result of doing that, you'll find out who the leaders are. Well, you want to gather the information on the leaders, get their name, go back into to Facebook and LinkedIn, pull up just their individual names of the leaders, and get their contact information, and network with them. And I would suggest you do, like I say here, number 6, is create your own spreadsheet with all the contact information you're getting from all this, okay? Or you can just go directly to your contact management system and load them directly in there, okay? Now, back to this. When it comes to these associations and organizations, if you do connect with them online, they're going to expect you to interact with them and engage and be part of the discussions and all that. Just be prepared for that, okay? But I tell you this, I know people that have done this. I've done it myself, and I'm, had great success with it. But I know people do it even way better than me, and they would tell me they would then move up to the national organization level. They go from the local level to the national. By the way, you can skip the state levels. Just skip the state levels. I've not met anybody yet who's got anything out of joining at the state level. It's local and national. Let's say you go to the national level. You can go to the annual events and get a speaking position at the annual event with all those dentists from all over U.S. and Canada, or the world for that matter. Okay, but also I wanted to bring this up. I had a guy actually tell me one time, one of my former students, he started doing this so much at the national level, he kept going back. The newer dentists, this was Dentist Association, he just assumed he was a dentist because he learned how to speak the language. He learned the terminology that dentists use, like this. Like they have a fear of being stuck behind the chair. Dentists will say that. Maybe not to you when you're sitting in the chair, but their fear is not being able to retire, because the dental practice is them. They're the dental practice, and they're thinking, my gosh, if I keep doing this as an individual practitioner, I can never retire. That they have a fear. So use that in your marketing. You see what I'm saying? You belong to these organizations. You get used to their language that they use, and you can use that in your marketing. Okay. In any case, you create your spreadsheet, get your contacts lined up, because now you're going to start marketing to them. Now, this next section is for joint ventures only. We'll talk about the business partnerships in a second. So for joint ventures, obviously you call them up. You call up the lenders, you call the attorneys, you call the contractors and so forth, and pitch your idea to them, okay? And you both agree to invite contacts from your respective lists, all right? And you also agree to advertise to drive cold traffic in from both your list and also cold traffic again, right? And people who are not on your list. You want to follow up with an email to summarize your plan and get commitment, okay? You also want to start the process of setting up a workshop. Remember, go to the workshop technique. Many of you have already taught that. You can go to the silver level membership page on the My Investment Services website. Okay, go in there in the resource section, go into marketing and grab these marketing campaigns. And one of them is going to be for the workshops. You're basically going to do a workshop with your joint venture partner, okay? The purpose is to get obviously new quality contacts and of course some eventual sales. All right, so that's with the joint venture. Now let's talk about the business groups, the business partnerships, okay? And the associations. All right, in many cases, the associations websites will have on there everything you need to know to join the association as a vendor, go to the local dinner, whatever you gotta do, set up your profile so that you can serve these dentists, for example, or chiropractors or engineers, okay? Now, I'm gonna give you something, I think I mentioned this earlier. There actually is an association called the Association of Associations. And that's the real life, honest to goodness association in Washington, D.C. And all the association executives all belong to this association. It's where it's like their trade group to learn how to run a better association. Well, the cool thing is you get direct access to all these association lists. There's over 2,000 of them. Get all the primary contacts, and they all had their own list, their own membership list. Well, you join that group, and oftentimes you can get access to that group's list. Now you got another source of prospects, okay? It's amazing. By the way, they don't have a website that gives you how to set up shop with them. Then you just have to call them, okay? Inform them you'd like to participate at the next business networking or association meeting. There likely will be a few for this, so just be prepared for that. And they will likely follow up with you in an email, right? They'll ask you, well, why do you want to do this? What's your business? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And keep going to their meetings on a regular basis. Go to their monthly dinners, at least go quarterly. I think it should go monthly in the beginning, and then later on, once you've established yourself, you can maybe go quarterly, okay? And of course, the purpose is to get good quality contacts. Now, for an added extra measure of rapport, right? You can create some pretty good intrinsic value with some high-end, high net worth prospects by having a high-end dinner evening at a local Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, right? Or whatever's the top-end restaurant in your town. Set up a dinner meeting just for your top 12 people. Great way to help them feel like they're special, and you now connect yourself with the money people, which is where you're going to make some money. Okay, you don't make money from people who have money. You only make money with people who have money. That's why rich people, we always want other people to be rich, because we have more ways to make more money. Okay. In any case, for the professional associations, you may also want to offer like a free lunch and learn at their place of business. Okay, get the list of the people who are members of the association, and call those business owners and say, I'd like to do a joint venture with you. I'm a member of the local teachers association, for example. Okay. In any case, moving along here now, you want to always track and measure. Make sure everybody you come in contact with goes on your contact management system. You want to have a regular recurring marketing campaign to feed them information and content. And this is what we're going to talk about next. Okay. So let's say you're deciding to work with dentists. I know dentists are more likely to want to buy rentals. Okay. So give them the book on buy rentals. Okay. In fact, Beverly's going to watch this. So Beverly, tomorrow, I want to give them the link that we have for the newly revised books on flipping, wholesaling, and buying rentals. I want to give that link to the students here on the webinar night. And then a link it gives you downloads for the book on flipping, the book on buying rentals, and the book on wholesaling, where you now can send that to your prospects. In fact, you should do that tomorrow. You should send that to all of your prospects in your database. But more importantly, at this private dinner or any marketing you're doing, for example, doing a lunch and learn, going to the fire station to do a presentation there, going to a national association meeting, or any joint venture with the lenders and the attorneys and the insurance people, always offer to their clients this material, the book on flipping, the book on renting, the book on wholesaling, whatever is appropriate for that person. You don't want to give them all three. Just ask them, what are you most interested in? And send it to them. They're going to be reminded that you sent them the information, and then they get to actually learn how to flip a home or buy rental or do some wholesaling. Okay. Now, you also want to do this. If you go to the YouTube channel, myinvestorservices.com, you'll see close to 100 videos out there, guys. Let me bring this up, and then I'll share it with you. Whoops. YouTube. Okay, My Investment Services. Playlist. Okay, so let me do share. Hang on one second. New share, YouTube. So hang on to your seats, and there it is. So look at this. If you add all these up, my gosh, that's 11, 4, that's 15, that's 21, 33, 42, 54, 58, 62, 79, 86, 89, 91, 95, 101, 105. There's 105 videos out there right now, guys. You can actually send these to your clients. Give them the playlist just on buying rentals or just on wholesaling, for example. Let me go back to the checklist. Hang on one second here. Go back here. Share. All right. Oops, hang on one second. Go back to the checklist. All right. So what I'm getting at is there's a playlist for every subject. Share the playlist. There's actual links right here. I'm going to send this to you. You're going to get this tomorrow. You're going to get this checklist that I'm going over tonight in your email tomorrow, okay? So now you have content you can give to your clients that talks about specifically how do you actually buy a rental, flip a home, and wholesale. Now, after you've built rapport, you've established relationship, then you want to make that offer. You always want to ask them, you know, would you like to look at some examples of rentals, some examples of flips in your area? This is where you get into closer to the buying process, and they're going to say yes. And sometimes they'll say no. Sometimes they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll say, what do you mean? The point is this: is you want to now get them in an interview. You want to get them on a phone conversation, a phone consult. Okay. Anybody who responds to you, you get them. You want to interview them. So you get them on the phone, do the interview. You want to qualify them. Remember, you want to determine timing, motivation, readiness, willingness, ability. Okay. You've got those 5. You got yourself a client. Determine that in an interview, and you can screen the people you want to work with from the people you don't want to work with, and only work with the people that obviously you want to work with. Okay. Remember, interview everybody. Helps you determine what type of investor they are. Helps you qualify them for being ready, willing, able now versus sometime in the future. And if you want to brush up on your skills in this, in the investor agent program, go to module 2, and you'll see there's 2 sections that are 12-step processes for how do you actually establish and manage a relationship with an investor. Okay, that's all in there. Work with the ones you want to work with. Right now, you got yourself some clients. You can go out there and make some money. Okay, that's pretty much it for tonight. So let me go to the chat box and see how we're doing here. Somebody posted a question in the Q&A. Rose, how you doing, Rose? Good to see you. So Rose, you always use the chat box. I didn't realize the Q&A, somebody had clicked on that. But Rose, it's good to see you. I hope, by the way, tonight's subject gave you some idea, Rose, because I know you're canvassing a wide area. You're hopping from island to island. And, you know, this will help you connect more with the local service providers and professionals, okay? Well, let me go to the chat box. Hang on one second and see how we're doing. Boy, you guys are quiet tonight. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And if you got any questions, now's the time to type them in and let me know. Otherwise, I will see you next week. So, by the way, so next week's session is going to be on the 9th, next Monday. And next Monday, let's see if I got the subject lined up. I don't have the subject lined up, but I think what we'll do is, hang on one second. Let me tell you what we're going to do next week. We did joint ventures. Let me see what we covered so far. So we did joint ventures. We did working with banks. We did podcast. We did bus tours. Let's see. So let's see. We can do Facebook and Instagram and that type of thing. We can also do, I think we did LinkedIn. No, wait, let me double check that. Maybe we didn't do LinkedIn yet. I'll do one of those 2. We did print media last time, so we already did that. I think that's about it. There's probably, and what we'll do is after that, probably later in March, we'll go into how to use, you know, school report, Melissa data and all that. We'll do a checklist for that too. Okay, let's see. Cindy, hey Cindy, how you doing? Is this documented in the training, or will you be emailed? So, you know, Cindy, the stuff I'm doing the earlier part of this year, we already have the content out there. You can go to the My Investment Services website. Let's go ahead and go there now. So hang on one second. Go to My Investment Services. Now it says, of course, you know, real estate with Gary Wilson. You click on the members area. Okay. Log into Silver because we're all Silver. You gotta actually log in. Sorry about that. Let me do log in here. I'm going to get all this done, then I'll share my screen with you. So hang on just one second. Let me do screen share. Hang on one second. There it is right there. So once you're in, then you click on My Dashboard. Okay. Then click on Silver. And in here it gives you all the goodies. This is where all the good stuff is. 200 and some odd recordings of webinars on every subject you could possibly imagine is out there. Airbnb, assisted living, 1031 exchange, self-directed IRAs. Every marketing campaign's out there. Everything's out there. Cash buyers report, private lenders report, podcasts are out there, student celebrity interviews, the newsletter, the blog, all the premier ebooks, members, these are free ebooks, by the way. You get them all for free. Forms and calculators, all the marketing is out there. The website resources, let's pick on that. Okay. Look at all these websites you can use to research people and properties. Remine, Revo Gateway, Marcus Millichap. I'm just kind of browsing through these. BRB publications, Bank Tracker, Melissa Data, Zip Code, Census. It's all out there. Okay, all those websites. Websites for flipping. And these are all hot links. You click on them and it brings up the next that particular website. In any case, so back to this, in the marketing section, Cindy, we're now going to be loading all of these checklists and all the we call them packages. So you're going to get to see, for doing a bus tour, the checklist for the bus tour, the recorded webinar for doing a bus tour, and the transcription of that webinar, the written version. All three, you get 3 parts for every marketing campaign. We're going to be loading those out there. So right now, what I'm going to do, Cindy, let me go back to the checklist here. Hang on one second. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this sent to you in tomorrow's email, the post-webinar email, Cindy, okay? So you'll get that. In any case, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Sorry, we got a couple more chats. Hang on one second. Let me go back to the Q&A. That's better than others like you listed. Target. Okay, good. That sounds good. Is there a target for commercial? Yeah, so Target, we actually created an entire commercial program. We did the development last year on it, and we're now working on the rollout. So I don't know when that's going to come out. Could be April, could be May. But you guys all get access to that too, by the way. It's a huge training program, lots of content. So yes, they are definitely targeted in there. Let me go, that was the Q&A. Let me go to the chat box. We had a couple of chats coming there. Oops, hang on one second. Just lost my position. Chat, there's 2 of them. Okay, that was Cindy's question. The answer is yes, you're going to get it tomorrow. Oops, forgot the income is $20,400. Cindy says, thank you. You're welcome, Cindy. Oh, here's some EO Adele. Okay, I have a property, 169,000 income minus expensive is 11K. What is the cap rate? Income is 20,400. So what you do is you take the 20,400, you subtract the 11,000, that leaves you 9,400. You divide in 9,400 by 169,000. I'll just do that for you right now. Hang on one second. Okay, let me go to calculator here. Hang on one second. Calculator. So 20,400 minus 11,000 is 9,400. 9,400 divided by 169,000. That's a 5.5% cap rate. EWA, that's a 5.5% cap rate. That's how you do that. So look at module 2 and you'll see the exact formula for doing that. Okay, guys, I think that's a wrap. Tell you what, this was a good one tonight. We got a lot of content covered, and more importantly, you got another whole entire new marketing campaign. You was asking, what do I recommend for cap rate to invest in? So yeah, well, you should, if you haven't had your first orientation call with Jody yet, you definitely want to do that. And then she'll show you how to set up a strategy call with me, because we should go over that. Every area is different. See, a cap rate in San Francisco of 2% would be fantastic, but a cap rate in Dayton, Ohio, that better be 12% to be fantastic. So cap rate represents the area, and every area is different. Most investors will say, I want 10%, okay? But that's just an arbitrary number, right? I want 10%, but I know I'm not going to get 10% in New York City or Toronto, but I might get 10% in Fort Wayne, Indiana, or Lafayette, Indiana. Okay. So in any case, cap rate represents the area, and every area can be different. So whatever your area provides cap rate wise, that's what you want to. That's your goal. But I don't see, remember, investors, real investors always use cash on cash return. That's what most investors that really know what they're doing focus on cash return. Okay. Okay, guys, good questions. You guys are awesome tonight. So I will see you next week on the 9th. Is that right? Yeah, the Monday the 9th. Oh, wait a second. Is that right? Oh, hang on one second. Yikes. I guess it is Monday the 9th. Well, that's going to be a challenge because I got to drive from Tampa to Orlando. And I don't even finish in Tampa until 5:30. All right, let me look at that tomorrow, guys. For right now, we're supposed to meet next Monday, the 9th at 7 o'clock Eastern. So if you don't hear otherwise, I will see you then. In the meantime, God bless you and your families. Have an awesome rest of the week, and we will see you next week. Okay, bye-bye, guys.